As the summer begins to warm up, we start to see some things that might be happening to our vegetable garden and the plants in our garden. Joining me today is Dr. Andreas Espindola, who is a researcher here and is working on some new technology to help better diagnose diseases. Dr. Espindola, thank you for joining us, and please tell us about your research you're doing.
Thank you for inviting me. Our research mostly focuses on molecular technologies for detecting plant pathogens, and we are interested in developing new technology for virus detection. For example, whenever a grower submits a sample and it reaches the diagnostic lab, every time we want to detect the virus, we have to run a separate test. So if we want to detect 10 viruses, we have to run 10 separate tests.
And those are usually based off of what you think it might be, right? Those tests?
Correct.
Yeah.
So based on signs and symptoms of the plant that arrive into the lab, we have to short list the number of tests that we do. For example, instead of doing 5 separate or 10 separate samples, we sequence the whole sample, and then we get the results doing bioinformatics.
And so those results come back, and you can then say, hey, it is this disease or that disease, or maybe multiple, right?
Correct. We can detect those 5 and even other diseases that haven't been found before. So that's the goal for known diseases and potentially unknown pathogens that might be there. It's cheaper, it's faster, and we can simultaneously detect more pathogens.
Okay, interesting, very interesting. So this is some new research, right, that y'all are doing here. Is it applicable to all plant diseases, or what are you looking for?
So currently this research is funded by the BioDAF, the Specialty Crop Block Grant, and we're focusing on diseases of tomatoes and peppers, and we have selected 4 viruses as a proof of concept.
Okay.
But it's applicable for many hosts. For example, it could be applied for other crops, and then we have to design the pipeline for being able to detect on those crops.
Okay, all right. So who all is this research going to impact? The homeowner or the industry?
The goal is that this research eventually, as it gets transferred to diagnostic labs or the diagnostic clinic, the tests become cheaper, and we can test for multiple viruses simultaneously, and that's our aim. Now, this is research, that's what we're testing, that's why we have this proof of concept that we want to see for a few viruses, how it works, improve the technique, and then once it is ready for transfer the technology, we'll do, and eventually it becomes cheaper to test for multiple viruses.
Okay.
We are encouraging people that have tomato plants or pepper plants to submit samples to us, because we need these samples to test our technology. Okay. And we need samples that might have virus infections.
Okay, so for homeowners, if they have something funky going on with their tomatoes this year, they should submit those samples.
They should submit their samples to the diagnostic clinic, and then they will get to us eventually.
Okay.
For the research. Yeah.
Well, let's go check with Jen about how to submit those samples.
Excellent. Thank you.
Hey, Jen, I'm glad to see you out of the lab, out here in the field.
Good to see you.
It's always good to kind of review how to submit a sample. I'm sure you're busy with a lot of samples, but as vegetables continue to grow, you probably get a lot more coming in.
Yeah, this time of year, we'll start to see quite a few vegetable problems. All the rain, they're putting on a lot of new growth and starting to see some different insect problems and also some disease pressure.
Okay, so if we have something kind of funky happening on our tomatoes or peppers or other cucurbits, tell us a little bit about how to submit those samples.
So if you are seeing something like distortion, twisting, curling, weird spots and blotches where we might suspect a virus, because that is in the foliage, that's the only part of the plant we need. We don't need the whole plant. And so overall, these tomatoes look pretty healthy, but I'm going to show you how to take a sample just so we get the right thing in the lab for testing.
All right.
So more is always better. A lot of people might have a tendency just to take a leaflet. Remember that tomatoes have that compound leaf, so if we can cut off the whole leaf. Younger growth is more likely to have virus in it than older, lower growth. And so just 2 or 3 whole leaves, and then you can place them on some newspaper. If you want to open that bag,
Okay.
we're going to fold up the newspaper around it, make a little packet that if it's a little damp, that'll help keep it from molding before we get it. And then you can put that inside the plastic bag. You can take it directly to your county extension office and they will send it to us for virus testing. Or if you want to mail it yourself, you can visit the Plant Diagnostic Lab website and there's the mailing information is there.
So at this point, we just put it in an envelope and give it to our extension office, or?
Yeah, and if you're going to wait a day or so before you take it to them, just keep that in the refrigerator to keep it fresh, and then just mail it in by regular postage, and we should get it in a couple of days. Once it comes into the lab, the county extension office will be notified by email, and it's usually a couple days to do our testing. And then we will pass samples like these to researchers so that they can use them to help validate some of the new methods they're working on.
Okay, but for somebody that's submitting a sample, you're going to respond with a potential disease that they've discovered.
Right. We'll send that information back to the county extension educator and they can relay it to the client with any management recommendations there might be.
Well, Jen, thank you for sharing this information. I know a lot of people will be utilizing your services.
Okay, great.
We hope you enjoyed this video as part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on the OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.